Welcome, everyone. Pleased to have Alan Diaz from Crosslam Brazil give us a good perspective and introduction to the growing mass timber industry in Brazil. Thank you, Alan. Can you begin your...
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. Well, I'm really happy to be here. You know that I met Greg 2 years ago in the Mass Timber Conference of 2019. And first time I saw him, I said, "Oh, that's the guy from Cut My Timber. I'm gonna talk to him and see if I can visit his factory, his facilities." And when I came to him, he said, "What are you gonna do in my factory?" It was a great introduction. But then we just talked a little, and I think he realized that I wasn't doing no harm. And then I went to his factory, and we spent the whole afternoon talking about robots and CNCs and technology. And then we became good friends. And I think Greg is doing quite a nice work, a nice job for the mass timber community all over the world. And yes, I'm going to start my presentation right now. I've got this first slide, which is a picture of mass timber building that is developing here in Brazil by HTB. And yes, I'm going to talk about mass timber here in Brazil. Okay, I will just introduce myself first. My name is Alan Diaz, and I'm a civil engineer, and I've been working with mass timber since I graduated in 1998. So it's been 23 years that I've been working with wood. I started my career doing small things like decking and pergolas. And in 2010, I was able to found Carpinteria Timber Structures with my partner, Paulo Bastos. And at Carpinteria, I was able to develop my knowledge about wood and participate in incredible projects here in Brazil, such as one of the biggest ones here, which is the roof for Fortaleza Commercial Center that I gained a prize for it, one of the biggest prizes here in Brazil, which is Talento by Gerdau in 2014. And I could gain also this same prize in 2017 with another structure, which is Ilhabela Sailing School. And yes, we've been in the market from 2010 to 2020 when we merged Carpinteria with Crosslam Brazil, and we became part of the group. So now that we had like an entire factory behind us, we could do bigger things. Let's go move on. This is a picture, a nice picture of the Fortaleza Commercial Center that I worked on in 2014. Was the first big mass timber construction here in Brazil. It opened up some doors, and we could bring to Brazil Rotoblas, which is one of the main suppliers for screws and connectors here for our country. It was a great experience to work with this construction. It was my first construction in wood that I had to work with some different softwares that I didn't use at the time, like Rhino and Grasshopper. And we developed here in Carpinteria the designing for the beams and all stuff. It was great. It was great. I was quite young when I did that. I was like 37 years old, and it was good to work with that. And this one is another project that we did here a few years ago. It's a structure with 15 by 15 for a really famous furniture store here in Brazil called Mi Casa, and it was nice to work with that also. And this is the Ilhabela Sailing School roof that we did in 2016, and in 2017 we were able to get the prize also for engineering for this structure. So talking about a little about Crosslam Brazil, we were found in 2006 at a small city near São Paulo. It's about 1 hour by car from São Paulo, where am I right now, and in Suzano. We started our fabrication of H20 beans. It's H20 beans are that yellow beans that we use for scaffolding. That's where we started. And the manufacturing of GLULAM started in 2008. We are pioneers of manufacturing cross-laminated timber here in Latin America, starting the production in 2012. And right now we are having more than 90 employees, direct and indirect, of course. And we have works in all over Brazil and Mercosul. A few years ago, we built in Uruguay a 4-story building, and we're building right now a resort on the beach with our partners in Uruguay, the Enkel Group. And of course, right now, we are the largest mass timber manufacturer in Brazil, starting to export some of our production to other countries also. This is a nice picture of our team at Crosslam. These two guys with a blue t-shirt on the front line are the main brains between Crosslam, which is Paulo Simonsen and José Alberto. That's the guys who guides us for everything, and they are responsible for all the work we're doing right now here at Crosslam. And this is a really, really nice picture of the first CLT panel manufacturer here in Brazil. And I think it's the first company that produced CLT in the southern hemisphere at all. So we're I think it was us. I don't know exactly, but it was in 2012, and I don't know if anyone here in the southern hemisphere had produced CLT before that. So how is timber in Brazil? How is mass timber in Brazil? Well, in recently, the cost components for our construction here was divided like that. 30% of the cost components was labor and 70% was materials. And 3 years ago, it changed more or less to 50 by 50, the cost of labor and cost of materials. But today, we know that labor here costs more than materials in the construction. More or less 60% of the cost of the construction here in Brazil are for labor. And yeah, that opens up a good opportunity for mass timber, because as we all know, when we produce mass timber, it means less labor because everything is done off-site. Everything is done in controlled environment without any waste. So even that wood costs more than other materials, we have high value in building in wood. And of course, our architects here have finally opened their eyes for wood. The renowned architects are starting to use wood a lot and started to look at this material as a differential in their projects. So by doing that, they're bringing sustainability and biophilia by using mass timber. So mass timber here is starting to gain traction in our country. And I have this nice graphic that a friend of mine, Paul Kramer, just sent me, and I wrote a test about it. That it's not sufficient only to have a factory like Crosslam to produce CLT. You must know that there's a whole chain behind it and a whole chain in front of it. So it's not sufficient to have just a manufacturer for CLT. We must know about harvesting, the transport of raw materials, the industrial hardware. We must know about machines and robots and stuff. We must know architects. We must form a team of engineering of engineers to work with wood, and we must know about adhesives. So before making a factory, we must know all those things. And after we build the CLT, is not only the product. We must know about how to transport, how to take it to the site, how to connect it with the other materials, how screw or how what screw and what connector should we use. And of course, we should deliver a service, a complete service, not only the product itself. And I can say that it's not easy to set up a factory here in Brazil, because we do not have equipment. We have to import equipment. We do not have it here in Brazil or even Latin America. So this equipment, of course, they cost a lot. The value of importing this equipment, such as presses, molders, and CNCs, increases the break even and discourages sometimes economic groups from investing in this area. So it's not easy. And of course, our money here doesn't help a lot. Our currency imbalance is really high here in Brazil. And of course, just to set up a factory, you don't need money, only money. You have to have courage. You have to have market experience and tradition in the wood market. So the formula can work. Okay. Well, this is the group of people that are working here in Brazil to make it happen. It's a small group, but we are a strong group. We have here um, people that are building their own factories. We have here structural engineers. We have here people who organize events for mass timber here in Brazil. So things are starting to get really, really serious here in Brazil. And it's good because Brazil is a country that has timber in its name. So Brazil means uh, Brazil wood, which is a great tree here from the Amazon forest. So the gluing part is the easiest part, but we have to join our forces to make it happen. Well, we have another problem here, the education for our engineers and for our architects. The academic deficiency here is really high because the universities never looked at this market and always produced people, engineers, and architects ready to work with concrete, reinforced concrete, and steel. But I think it's going to change in the future. We're starting to have more courses, and we're starting to have more people interested in learning about wood and learning about how to design timber, especially in Chile, but in Brazil, we're starting it right now. And guys, we do not have wood culture here in Brazil. We were raised by knowing that a house made of bricks is better than a house made of wood because um, of our tropical climate. We have lots of chilophagous insects, or better said, termites and fungi. It's a serious cultural problem that we are starting to resolve now. And using here is not easy because termites eat wood, and the wood is attacked by fungi. And it affects our culture and affects and creates prejudice, creating serious difficulties in the market. People think that because wood is used on the favelas, it's not good, or in the other hand, people think that wood is only for rich people, which we all know that's not the way it works. But we are having some really good positive factors for the future, because the new generations that are coming right now, like the new architects and the new engineers, they are more open-minded for using wood and using the system, because they are coming with this sustainable mindset. Now, the previous generations, they are more conservative, but the new ones, they are more they get more information from the internet and online information. They are seeing that the whole world is building in wood, and they have this worry about the planet and the environment. So step by step, we're changing our mindset here, to work better with wood, thanks to the open information that we can get right now. And here in Brazil, it's quite known that we have good soil, and everything grows really good and fast here. As I was talking to Greg on the beginning, the main species that we are focusing here in Brazil to produce mass timber is pine and eucalyptus trees, because forest here grows very strong and in our tropical climate, and with shorter times for harvesting, and with high quality material. So forests here grow quick and strong. And for example, to have a nice eucalyptus trees, it takes from 15 to 16 years old to have a nice and excellent tree for cutting off and making mass timber. For pine trees, it goes from 20 to 23 years. We can produce excellent trees here in Brazil and of course South America. And the cellulose or pulp industries, they're the main consumers right now. More than 90% of our trees that are planted here, they are going for the cellulose industry. They get really benefits from our climate and forests. Globalization is also good, because we can hire from here people from all over the world to work with our projects, and the projects we are developing here right now in Brazil. We can work with foreign technicians, engineers, and designers from all over the world that help us to understand how to design, and how to acquire knowledge, so we can move with our own legs here. So it's really easy to work remotely right now. We can get correct information from people with much more experience than we have here, and it's really easy to get the right softwares to work with wood here, and it's easy to exchange data. Sometimes we can exchange data with our partners directly on the software we are using here. But in all of our projects, we have to make this tropicalization of the projects, because the climate here is different. The the rain is different. The summer is different. Everything is different from northern countries. So we have to do it here, so that the projects work in our country. And the thing that I mostly like are the robots, the CNCs, and the router machines. Now the technology is almost everywhere. It's widespread technology. It's easy to get, and it's easy to get here in Brazil. There is qualified labor to work on the site, and mass timber is really ready to take off here in our country. Really, really. You know that the world that we know today gives us access of a lot of information and knowledge very, very easily. And adding all that this technological world promotes, and adding people with a real desire to accomplish great things, we will go far together. With the lack of capital, but with great ideas in mind, we find ourselves in the opportunity and needing to increase our factory with cutting edge equipment. So we developed, we designed, and we built a 5-axis CNC portal. With desire, nothing is impossible to do. I was reading this because these are words of José Alberto, our main director, and I'm going to show you what we did here. This is our CNC portal. It's all mixed up. Our rack is from Germany. Our linear guides are from Japan. Our backslash zero reducers are from USA. Our gear reducers are from Japan. Our drivers, engine, and servants are from Euskadi as well, the CNC controller. The steel beam with the high stiffness is from Ukraine. Our post processor is from Russia, which is a great post processor. I like it a lot. And the steel beams, the design, the spindles, the inverters, and the integrators are from Brazil, all from here. And this is our beautiful CNC portal working on the beam, on a wood beam, on a glulam beam, just making the cuts. For me, this is engineering magic. Everything that we draw, we turn in a real piece. So everything that we draw is what you get. You draw what you draw is what you get. That's that's always what I say. Well, we can do almost everything with our CNC portal, and it's a lot of fun to work with. And we just got this new beauty here. It's a Yaskawa GP 250. It's on the box right now in the factory. And who knows, I make a video of an unboxing of this beauty. If you know this one, it's a robot arm with a payload of 250 kilos, a hand of 2710 millimeters, repeatability of more or less 0.05 millimeters, accuracy of 0.2 millimeters, and the spindle is from Italy with 11 kilowatts. It's air cooled with automatic two changer, HSK F63, a velocity of 1,200 RPM to 18,000 RPM. The post processor is the same one from Russia. Now it's 6 axis, and we're planning to put another axis, so it turns to 7 axis and has 12 different tools that change automatically. I'm really looking forward to put my hands on this beauty soon. Well, guys, I'm just going to show you some works that we did here in Brazil. So this one is Sesc Paraty that I did for Índio da Costa architecture, and we designed this beautiful freeform structure that's going to be built next year. So this is a nice work that we did a few years ago with Marcio Sartorelli and João Pini. These are the guys who created Beaver, which is a plugin for Grasshopper that calculates connections for wood. I was lucky that when these two guys were working on Beaver, they were my interns in Carpinteria, and I could be with them in the whole process. It was really nice to work with these guys and work with Rhino and Grasshopper. So this is the final draw that we did, and these are some of the software that we are working right now. Rhino, Grasshopper. We use RFM from Drupal, TimberTech, CADWork, SketchUp, and Tekla structures for our structures that we're developing right now at Crosslam. This is a nice house that we did in Campinas for the Mapa architecture. We did almost everything in this house. It's a nice house, all made of CLT walls and GLULAM, and it's a nice one. These are some sheds that we did in Mairinque for Sergio Sampaio's architecture. We designed everything here, from the concrete prefabricated columns to the GLULAM beams, and of course the steel beams also. So it's a 22-meter span, each one, and a total 44-meter span. It's a nice hybrid structure with concrete, timber, and steel working together as it should be. This is one of the greatest projects of mass timber here in my city, São Paulo. It's called Concept School. It's a particular school with a project from architecture triptych, and we designed canopy with almost 1,000 square meter and two sports hall, nice sports hall with 18-meter span. This is one of them. This is the nice canopy that integrates all the blocks on the school. And this is one of my favorites, the one that I have here on my background is a nice sports hall with mass timber columns, mass timber beams, and CLT making the roof on the top. This is what we're working right now. It's a house for FGMF architecture. This was a challenge because I had to create a CLT slab with GLULAM ribs on the bottom part so we can go on 30-meter span. Of course, it's not wood only working on here. I have some steel beams on the top of it, so everything works together and hybrid steel, concrete, timber. And yes, it's a great project, and it's almost ready right now. This is a public school that we built for Carolina Pena Architecture, and yes, it's a public school, so children is going to learn covered by a great and beautiful mass timber roof that we did last year here in São Paulo, in São Caetano, which is a small city near São Paulo. It's a 40-meter span. It's a 40-meter diameter roof, and it's almost ready for the children to start to go there. And last is our great and beautiful Aurora, which is our project, our first mass timber building, 100% produced in Crosslam Brazil, that we're going to build this year here in Suzano near the factory. So we did almost everything here, from the foundations to the turnkey. Everything is done by Crosslam and our team. So it's a 6-story mass timber building with the first story made of steel and concrete. The core is concrete, is precast concrete that we're producing at Crosslam, and everything else is CLT, GLULAM, and wood frame. So this is a beautiful design from our architect Gabriela Lotufo, and it's on its way. We finished the foundations last week, and in the next few weeks we're starting to build the fun part, which is the wood and everything else. So guys, this is all I had today. I will open for questions and answers. And I want to say that we are all in all social media. We're in Instagram, in LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And I have here another nice picture from HTB Wood. That is the building that we're helping to develop here in Brazil. Thank you, guys. That's it.
Thank you, Alan. You're covering a big industry in a big country. I mean, I know the industry is still small, but you've got so much wood, such a big country.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of questions from Scott Noble. He said, "Thanks, Alan. How are you dealing with the termite and fungus concerns you talked about?"
Oh, that's a great question, Scott. Yeah. So here we have to treat wood with some pressure treat our wood so we can deal with termites and fungus concern. Here in Brazil, we use CCA or CCB to treat our wood. So despite of that, we have to take care of the design also by making the wood not on the outside of the buildings and protecting it with a facade or something like that. So we take care of our wood, not exposing it so much for the environment. So that's what we do here.
Scott has another question. What species of wood are you primarily using in your CLT and GLULAM beams?
Yeah, as I told on my presentation, we are mostly using pine, which is Eliotis pine and Teda pine, and eucalyptus trees also. We use these tree species that comes from plantations, not from the rainforest. So we plant our trees so we can harvest them with all the certifications that they have, and then we use these two species to build and to make our mass timber products here in Brazil.
Beautiful. And then Lek from Oregon State University. He'll be our speaker next week. He has a couple of questions. He says, hey, beautiful projects. How do you address biodegradation and insect risk to mass timber structures in Brazil?
Hi, Lek. I'm planning to see your presentation also. Well, as I told Scott, we have to treat wood here in Brazil or make it inside the buildings, so we don't have attack for termites and fungus. It's a matter of treating it right or making the right design so we can maintain all the termites and fungus away from our wood here. But it's a great matter. We are always thinking about that every time we're designing a mass timber building here. It's quite a thing that we have to look after every time.
Okay. And let's see. Here's from Lek. I think we haven't covered this. What adhesives do you use for eucalyptus products?
Oh, that's a great question. We often use the same adhesive for everything, which is polyurethane, a monocomponent polyurethane from Purband or ExxonMobil or Henkel, or from Yovat. It's the same adhesive. The thing that changes from one species to another is the amount of pressure you put on your press, but it's the same adhesive, polyurethane.
Beautiful. Then, like just a compliment here, he noticed the incredibly wide annual rings in the picture of a CLT panel earlier in your presentation. I think it's showing the fast growth, huh, of some of your trees.
Yeah, it's a fast grow here.
Yeah, and Alan, I have a question. Your company is obviously a leader in not only mass timber, but in some of these levels of automation. And you're using equipment, some of it Brazilian, and also a lot of it from other countries. What are you connecting more also within greater Latin America, like you mentioned with Chile, and how do you see connections? You traveled to Portland, so you're making these connections, but how do you see these kind of relationships evolving?
Yeah, it's a great question also, Greg, because what I feel here is that the countries here in South America that are leading the way for the mass timber are Chile in the first place, because Chile has more culture of building in wood. They have a huge forest, uh, like radiata pine forest, and Brazil in second place, and Argentina and Uruguay, I mean, in third place, because right now factories of mass timber are starting to pop up here in South America. I heard that in Chile, two CLT factories are starting to get to be putting on. There is one in Argentina and another one here in Brazil. But as I told you, everything must be imported from other countries because we do not have like the equipment to produce mass timber here. So sometimes it gets too expensive, and the people doesn't have, as I said, courage to invest on it. But it's a path without going back here. We have good wood and good people in the industry, and yes, I'm always in contact with people from Chile. I was there 2 years ago because 2020 I wasn't able to visit anyone, and I've been to Santiago, and yes, I talked to some friends there with E2E from Chile, and it was a nice talk. They're developing many things, interesting things in Chile, but in Brazil we're going well also. So we're starting. It's like a beginning here, Greg. It will take like 10 or 20 years to be as America or Canada is right now, but we started. Yes, as I told you, in a few years we're going to have many mass timber projects and buildings here in South America. I'm quite certain it will be.
And then I have another question. I'd love to get your perspective. I see you're very active on social media. You're working and presenting in multiple languages, and you travel when you have an opportunity. What do you think the industry can do to modernize, share more information, so information about processes and building systems and mass timber crosses borders more quickly? Well, what could we do to help connect people like you that are helping push things forward?
Well, Greg, I think there is one word that resumes everything in that you asked me, which that is sharing. We need to share our knowledge so we can know that what we're doing here is right or what we're doing here is wrong. You know that there is this guy from Cree that speaks a lot about sharing information about wood. I mistook his name right now, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And yes, if we share our knowledge, we can move on together doing the right thing. So sharing is the word for mass timber right now, as we're doing right now with this presentations. Every time I watch a guy talking or you talk, I learn something, and I try to share my knowledge with most people that I know, so they get it from the right sources and not from people who are just speaking as their mind. So we put a filter in what we think it's right, and we study a lot, and then we share. So that's the word for the, not only for us but for the world right now, so we can be better people in the future, is sharing information.
I 100% agree. I think there's enough demand out there to build, and we need to figure out how do we use the best tools to do it. And I hope you can come again soon to the Oregon. And Stefan's adding an email, Stefan Schneider, like very cool projects, and we're looking forward to coming to Brazil to visit. So
Oh,
can you make an invitation to the mass timber community? Are they welcome to Brazil?
yes, everyone is invited to visit our facilities, but you are invited to operate our new robot arms, because I know you're not going to 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 make it do the wrong thing.
Yeah, but I think in the modern world, that's what we want to do too, is essentially have people that are developing the software to operate the CNC machines and also to do the industrial robots like your new one. I think people connecting, trying to solve the same problems and connecting them internationally, we can do that virtually. We don't,
Sure.
we don't all have the opportunity to travel in person. Here's a couple comment. Great talk, Alan. That's from Lech Muzinski. And then Michael says, I want to work with you on mass timber for the South Florida market, Alan. And that's Mike. That's Michael. His email is in the chat section. But I think I'm going to post this video and others, of course, on the Mass Timber City website on the YouTube channel. And how should people find Alan Diaz? What's the easiest way to get a hold of you and track you?
Well, I try to answer every day all my emails in the morning, and when I get home in the evening, it's alan@crosslam.com.br. But as you know, I'm quite active on LinkedIn. You can add me there and ask me questions, and we can get together there. And I try to answer everything, even the most simple question. I answer everything. And yes, LinkedIn is the best way to reach me, or through email. It's quite easy. But I just wanna share the name of the guy that I mistook is Hubert Romberg. He's a genius, you know that. So you can find me on email or LinkedIn. It's quite easy to get me there.
Okay, great. And then just to add, Michael will find you because he said they have similar concerns in Florida about insects and finishes because of the climate in Florida.
Oh yeah, Florida is quite like Brazil.
Okay, well, let's see if there are any more questions. No, not right now. Thank you for your time, Alan, and see you on LinkedIn and on social media. and in Brazil. Looking forward to coming there one day.
Please come to Brazil.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you, audience, and see you online. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye.